following on from our discussion earlier
All right.
on information and knowledge,
Information and knowledge.
I have a scenario that I wanted to play and see what you thought.
All right. Scenario away.
There's in a marriage which seems to be breaking apart, the husband is noticing a change in his wife in terms of what she is getting interested in. And she's getting interested in things that he would have loved her to get interested in. But he has a question. And the question is, how does he know if her interest in these things is genuine, or is it just to get him back?
Oh, well, this is actually one of my favorite topics, the difference between information and knowledge. And it follows on from the things that we've been saying before, in that information is just a sterile fact. Knowledge is processed. Knowledge is something that you take internally and understand. It's an important thing to understand because there's so much information around us, and so often people are simply satisfied with information. I've often thought it's difficult for people to tell who is a real teacher from somebody who has a lot of data.
Right.
You know, and in the spiritual community, one can see that should be approached by knowing or asking yourself, does this teacher just have information? Can he just answer questions? Or does he understand these things? And the way to do it in a spiritual environment is to see what questions that teacher has to ask you so that you can understand these things yourself, rather than just taking pieces of information. There's certainly a lot of people in this perhaps overeducated, over-academic world that are just satisfied with data, with pieces of information, rather than real knowledge. In terms of a scenario like the one you described in the marriage, how can you tell if this information or this study or this knowledge on her part is legitimate and sincere? I think the same way we can test that same principle with the ideas that we know and the information we have. Is it simply a sterile fact, or is it something I know and I'm interested in? And one of the key markers is, after having acquired this information or read these data or found those facts, can you ask an original question with it? Not simply to repeat what you've heard, what's been said, but have you processed it enough to be able to ask an original question about it? Not necessarily a good question about it, but just a question about it. Other than that, they're just facts. They're just facts.